So we're about 3.5 years apart. So we spent our whole life together. I'm older than her, so she's a younger sister. Man, there's so many memories. I do remember the most recent ones, and they were definitely different. We grew up as kids, and then I moved out on my own, and she followed. So these last memories were very important to me because, we were acting as adults together. We were paying bills together. We were living together for a brief moment. I would support her in financial ways and different ways. We've had so many memories together. We played every single day after school outside. We were total goofballs. We were the most unserious people at the family get-togethers. Everybody would be praying and we'd be looking at each other laughing. We'd always pick on people, but there are so many memories and so many fond memories that it's hard to even go through all of them.
She had really curly hair as a little kid. Always was really blonde, curly, and I think she used to love jumping on a trampoline. And a lot of my memories of us as a kid was jumping on a trampoline, and I could just always, when I look back, I always look at her, I remember her little curls. And I would say my childhood memories are my favorite, but as our adult lives came about, I did always enjoy, my favorite memories of us was probably us jamming out in the car, because she loved to sing, and she always sung so good, and she would get into it, and she was really good at remembering the words. So I would say those are probably some of my favorite memories of us.
Raelan was so kind. Yeah, I don't think she ever talked bad about anybody, except maybe one person, but that was it. Literally, she was so kind. She never talked bad about people, but she loved to gossip. And some of the funniest memories that I have were one time her dad and I were sitting in the living room, and it was probably something about Casey. But we were sitting there and we were really quiet because we were talking about something. And she comes running out of her bedroom and she's like, "What y'all talking about?" And we were like whispering. But she loved some gossip. She was nosy. She was very nosy. But she always longed to be an only child. Like, I hate to tell you that, Jacqueline, but she longed to be an only child. And so when Casey moved out, she was, a little excited. And then when Jacqueline moved out, she was a little excited. And I think the first thing she said was, "Can we knock out this wall and make my room bigger?" And like, she loved being an only child. And so my favorite memories with Raelan were like when everybody else had left the house, and most of the time it was just me and Raelan. And so we got to spend a lot of time together. And I guess, maybe she longed for that just one-on-one because she didn't have to share her parents with two other siblings. And so I'm so thankful for, the last couple years that we had in her life, because me and her got to spend a lot of time together. I just loved everything about Raelan. I mean, she had her moods. Anybody that knew Raelan knew she had her moods, but I mean, she was a wonderful, wonderful person. I have a lot of fond memories, lots.
One of my fondest memories is first time we took the children to Branson, Missouri. I can't remember, I think Raelan may have been 4. And she was a daredevil. So when we went to what's the name of that park?
Silver
Dollar City. And they have roller coasters. Well, they have a lot of roller coasters. So she wanted to ride every one of them, but she wasn't tall enough. And they had this, so she squalled and squalled. I mean, she literally stood there and cried about the roller coasters, that she could not ride those roller coasters. And they had this log jam, or that log, it drops like that. Now she could ride that, and she loved that. So we rode that one day. I think we rode that 5 times. But the next year, next time we went to Branson, she was tall enough to ride the roller coaster. So we rode every roller coaster in the place. So that's one of my fondest memories.
I didn't know what fentanyl was at all. Never even heard of it. It was really weird. But I guess it's like when you buy a new car, you start to see other things. So when it happened, I started hearing about it all the time. I hear about it in, rap songs. I hear that it's almost in every drug nowadays. It is the most addictive drug out, and I know it's the #1 killer of teens and young adults. I know we're facing an epidemic of it. I know that they use it in certain things such as elephant tranquilizers and epidurals. So I know it's a very intense and fatal drug, but I do know it's extremely addictive, and that's why people are putting it in common drugs that are sold.
The first time that I heard of fentanyl, and I don't even know if I recalled it being fentanyl, but it was the fall of 21, and I was speaking with a lady that was at the Home of Grace, which is an addiction and recovery program, and she was sharing her story with me, and said that there was a big problem with drugs being laced in Stone County, and she told me that there were things that were being laced with fentanyl, and that was very, very deadly, and that she had actually taken something that, like, she basically died, but they were able to bring her back. But then she said that there was another kid from Stone County that had actually died from it. So that was the first time I'd ever heard of fentanyl.
We know that it's everywhere. We know that it's very lethal. 2 milligrams can kill a person. It's 100 times more potent than morphine and 50 times more potent than heroin. It is used in the medical field, but there are options to that. There are, on the street, it has a lot of different names. I won't go over those, but it does have a lot of street names. There are, just as what Raelan got a hold of, that somebody, we assume that somebody gave it to her, a person that she knows, but anyway, you can't, just because you know someone doesn't mean that what they have, they don't know. You can't tell, because they're called fentanyl pills, and what they are, they're pressed. These people take these pills, they make a pill, and they put that on there. 2 milligrams will fit on if you sharpen a pencil, it'll fit on there. Well, it's changed the dynamics of our family. It's something that I would never, ever want anybody to have to go through. I know there's been many people who have lost their children, not only to fentanyl, but to other drugs and other means. But it's something that we will never get over. You can I mean, we miss her. It's like she's still with us. We still, you know, there's days that you think, oh, she's gonna walk through the door. You don't even think about her not being here, really. You think, you know, like I said, some days you think you're gonna get a text from her or a phone call, or she's gonna come walking through the door saying, what's up? I think we were already a close family, but I think it's even, you know, maybe made us closer even, parts in some of our family. It's changed the holidays. You know, I think it causes you to, has caused us to just be more compassionate toward other people, to take every day one step at a time, I guess, one day at a time. That's really the way it's changed our family. It's affected our family.
This was a huge eye-opener. It impacted the way that I treat people. It impacted the way that, you know, I treat my parents. I value the time that I have with them. It impacted the way that I treat my daughter. It impacted the way I treat my friends. You know, I became much more of a compassionate person, but I was very stern. So, you know, even though I would see my friends having fun or something, I'd get mad at them for doing something that I didn't agree with, whether I thought it was speeding or drinking too much or doing a substance or anything. I valued life, and I understood that it could be gone in a blink of an eye. So that impacted me a lot, and it still does to this day.
I just wanted to say too that you feel like you have all the time in the world, and it passes so fast. And I feel like whenever you lose somebody, like a daughter or sister or someone really close and special to you, you don't realize, you think that you're gonna have your whole life with them, and you don't realize that until it's taken away from you. And so I feel like it's made me appreciate the time that I have with my family, and maybe I didn't appreciate it enough before, but I do now.
So, January 25th was the day that my sister died. I do note that just a few days before that, me and my sister were in a pretty heavy argument. It was so simple, but I wanted to make my point. So I blocked her from everything. I started ignoring her just to prove a point. And the night that she died, I had some friends over. I had like 3 friends over, and she lived right beside me. Could have knocked on the wall and heard her. She couldn't text me because I had her blocked, and I know it hurt her because we were so close.
On January 25th, 2022, I would have to say has been the worst day of my life, due to the fact that we lost our daughter. What happened that day was that I usually in the mornings I always heard from Raelan, or either I text her myself and she responded. I knew she had to go to work. you know, she's very faithful about going to work. She never missed work. And so I had texted her, and I didn't hear anything back from her. So I waited a while and tried texting her again and didn't hear anything. I tried calling her and didn't hear anything. And I don't know what time that was. I'd have to go back and look. It's all a blur kind of, but I decided that something must be wrong. I said, she's either, you know, sick or something. So I called, her mother works in Gulfport, and she's not that far from where Raelan lived. So I called, I said, you know, see, have you heard from Raelan? And she said, no. I said, well, I haven't either. I've texted her and she hasn't responded. I've tried calling, she's not answering her phone, it's going straight to voicemail. So Brandon said, well, you know, I said, well, she's got to go to work. We'll wait and see what happens. We do have Life 360, and she was on that. I mean, so we waited, and I called her mother. I said, something's wrong. I haven't seen any movement. And she hadn't responded. She hasn't called me, and she always, you know, texts me and says, I'm getting ready to go to work or something.
She messaged my friend asking if she could come over, and my friend didn't see the message. You know, we all went to sleep that night. Everybody went home, and I woke up the next morning. I saw my sister's car in the driveway, and I didn't say anything. I went to work. Later that day, my mom's friend called me, and she was asking if I had a key because Raelan wasn't answering the door. I could hear my mom in the background banging on the door. And I could tell my mom was frustrated. I tried to think of some solutions, you know, why she wasn't answering the door. The only thing I could think of was maybe she had a boyfriend over or something, and she was just embarrassed to answer the phone to my mom.
And I think Sabrina said, well, I'll go in a little while. So I think later on, Sabrina, I told her, you know, I still hadn't heard from her. I think Sabrina called her work. Did you call her work, or did they call you? What?
No, we called her work later.
Oh, okay. But anyway, Sabrina decided to go over there, and you can pick up from there. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was at work, and so I said, okay, I'm gonna go check on her. Really, I knew she was supposed to go to work that day, but she also had an appointment that morning.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, she might have just overslept, and really just thought maybe she wasn't feeling good and just overslept, and she wasn't hearing us call her. So I told my coworker, I was like, I'm gonna go check on Raelan. I'm pretty sure she's fine. And I will, you know, call you back in a little bit. So I packed up and I left, and I really did not think that it was anything bad. I really thought that she had just like maybe slept in. But I called my friend, and I said, I'm going to check on Raelan. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's fine. I said, but are you close by? Could you come with me? And she was, and she said, I'll meet you there.
I just didn't think of anything. I said, you know, some things to do, and they said they'd get somebody to open the door. So I said, just, you know, call me and let me know. I did not prepare myself for this.
And so me and my friend, we went to the office, and I was like, my daughter's in an apartment and she's not responding. I was like, can you just let us in? I was like, I think she's overslept. and she's just not responding, so I just need to check. And the lady said, well, I have to get another person to go with me. And I guess at that time I started getting concerned, and I was like, do you have to do this regularly? And she was like, oh, you wouldn't believe how many times we have to do this. She said, usually it's somebody's overslept, or like sometimes an elderly person or something. So she kind of made me feel a lot better about it. And I still thought she probably just took something and overslept. And I even made a joke with my friend, and I was like, if she took something, like I thought maybe she took like a sleeping pill or something to make her go to sleep, I said, I'm gonna send her butt to the home of grace. But I really did not think anything about it. I thought she had overslept. And so they let us in, and her bedroom door was shut. So, and I thank God for the guy that went with me. He was the maintenance guy, and he went in, and I had no idea what we were walking into, but he just told us not to go in there at the time. He said, we're gonna call 911. So I still didn't know really what was going on. I guess it was just a blur, and I guess maybe I was just, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just still thinking she's okay. Like, she's okay. And so they called 911, and everything was just a blur. And he just sat with me, and he was like, 911's coming, and they're gonna see if they can help her. I still didn't know what was going on with her. And there was just so many things that kind of running through my mind. But I guess it was just a couple minutes, and the fire department came, and I still didn't know what was going on, but they came out and they said there was nothing we can do. And it was just a blur. We still didn't know what happened, and I was too scared to go in there and see.
Yeah, it caught me off guard, but I got a call about a minute or two later from my mom's friend, and I could just hear my mom screaming in the background just over and over and over again. And I've never heard my mom scream like that, but you could tell it was, it was what she was crying about was unfixable. So I said, what's going on? And my mom's friend told me that my sister was dead. And so I just jumped in my truck. I left my work totally unoccupied, doors open. I rushed there. The whole time I was just saying no, no, no. I don't remember the drive at all. But I remember coming to the gates and just seeing multiple fire trucks, and it just all became so real, so real. Walked in the door, and my mom just looked like a ghost. My dad started calling me, asking where my mom went. So I was confused, and I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, your mom went to go check on your sister? What's going on? So I didn't know what to say. I just told him to get down there. So I watched my mom lose her kid. I watched my dad and the whole time I was, I just lost my sister, but that day sucked. That day sucked.
But I guess when the coroner came, that's when he said it looks like maybe she took something and it just ended her life immediately. And so by that time, I guess everybody had made it to her apartment, and I mean, we didn't know for, I guess, a month or so what really had happened. But that's, they said we feel like 90% sure that it's probably something to do with fentanyl, because they had seen so many deaths. And then when we got her toxicology report back, it was 2 milligrams of fentanyl.
And the coroner said he said there's a pill, it's a fake pill. He said, I've seen it too many times. He said it's a fake fentanyl pill.
Yeah,
So
it was,
she
there was one pill left in her room, and he said it looks like a pressed pill. He said she would never know that it was a pressed pill, but he said it looks like it's an oxycodone. He said it's not an oxycodone. And so then when they did the toxicology report and everything, it was 2 milligrams of fentanyl. There was not a single thing in her system that was like, there was no other illicit
no other
drugs.
No marijuana, nothing.
Now, all of her, and this was one thing, like, because a lot of people, I guess, were wondering what had happened. And they assured us over and over, like, this was definitely accidental. Like, it was, she never knew that this was about to happen. She was here 1 minute and she was gone the next. Like, she had her list of things to do. She had all of her prescription pills, like, they were all accounted for. Like, when they did the toxicology report, like, all of her prescription medications were in her system, like, same quantity, like, and then all the pill count. There was nothing that she had taken, like, in excess. Like, she was taking all of her medicine like she should be, except for the 2 milligram of fentanyl that was in her system. For some people, it's not a lethal amount, like, if they have built up a tolerance to it. But for her, like, she didn't have tolerance to it, so it ended her life immediately. We wanted to start an organization to bring awareness of the fentanyl issues in our area, specifically, Gulf Coast and surrounding counties. And just to offer educational resources, support, just to be a voice for those that can't speak out about the issue, and just bring awareness.